guys, welcome back to The Outspoken. Today, I want to go off a little bit and talk about microphones. Pretty much since day one, when people started recording from a home, there's been all sorts of confusion about microphones, and I've heard about 100 billion times of, well, what microphone should I get, and I don't know, and whatever. I'm going to make it real simple for you and easy. Because it's really not as complex or worrisome as a lot of people think. There's been so much talk online about microphones, and people do microphone shootouts, and they say, oh, here's a $1 billion microphone, and compared to a 13-cent microphone, and you can't tell the difference, and you can kind of tell the difference. You want to have quality. If your mic's got a USB cable on one end, it's not a quality mic. You need some quality stuff. I mean, you're a professional, so act like a damn professional, for God's sakes. These are my recommendations, and they're based on, if you go to pretty much any studio in the country, any studio in the world, you're going to see one of these microphones, if not all three of these microphones, and that goes for big professional studios and for home studios. Yeah, there's other things. People say, oh, well, I have a manly reference mic. If you want to impress like other voiceover talent, which is what everybody loves to do for some reason, is market to other talent. The manly reference burner. Yeah, it's really nice. It's like $1 million. You probably, you probably don't need it. Oh, well, no, you're wrong. I like the Audio Technica 40, 60, 50, 40, blah, 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 whatever. I personally actually have an RE20, which is like a broadcast mic, and I use it all the time. And I'm sure Whittam and those guys and whatever would say I'm out of my friggin' mind to use one. I mean, I use it for telephony, and that gets dumbed down like crazy. But I love that mic, man. I've had that for like 1,000,000 years. Obviously not a primary mic, though. That's what we're talking about now, is your primary main, microphone. First off, your recording environment is way more important than your microphone. That's paramount. You could take a $1 billion microphone, and if you put it in a crappy room with all kinds of echo, it's just going to sound like garbage. So if you're saying, well, I want to throw some money into my home studio, worry about that first. And sometimes it's as easy as putting up some blankets or whatever. If you've been doing this for a bit, get a booth, man. I mean, they cost $1 million, but you'll be so happy. Unless you don't need it and there's not traffic or whatever, but they're great. Anyway, environment first, and then these mics, my faves, love them because everybody loves them, because they do their job. Again, they're ubiquitous. They're all over the place. The big three. First, the 416, the Sennheiser 416. Love that mic. It's probably the most popular. Everybody's got one of these things. It's in every studio. People call it the LA mic. Sometimes because it's in all the LA studios, they seem to love it out there. But everybody loves it. It's a great mic. It wasn't even designed for voiceover. It's one of those. It's a long shotgun deal. It's one of those things that'd be like on a pole with a dead cat, fuzzy thing on it, and they'd be following an actor around. But it's just amazing for voiceover. It's great for noisier environments as well. If your environment, again, is not perfect, this was used, like say there's an actor walking down the street and it will be on a pole and pointed at the actor, and then it's not going to pick up the sounds of the city so much or something like that. So it's just real super directional right to your dang mouth hole. And it just works out perfect. The response to it is great. It works for a variety of different voices. I think there's a bit of a learning curve because it is so directional. And you got folks that are used to kind of doing a little dance in the studio. And yeah, it's somewhat forgiving, but you got to be on axis with that thing. So it's something to keep in mind. But it'll take you like 2 minutes, and then you figure it out, and you go, all right, I kind of have to hang out here a little bit more than perhaps another microphone. And the proximity effect is not tops. It has some, but if you want to, get in real nice and sexy, that mic is probably not the best for that situation. But otherwise, it's amazing. Again, the LA mic. The promo guys love it because it's got a nice, crisp, clean response. You can't go wrong. And it's like $1,000. It's $1,000. So if you don't have $1,000 to spend on your gear, then quit. Like, I mean, it's cheap for a quality piece of gear that you'll have forever. Okay, number 2, the Neumann 103, the TLM 103. Super, super popular mic. Everybody loves Neumann. People like to say Neumann. It's like $1,400 or $1,500, so it's more. But you can get the anniversary edition. I have links down below. And it comes in like a cool metal box, and it's got the spider shock mount thing, which you absolutely need with those types of microphones. It sounds amazing. It's super sensitive though. These types of mics, these large diaphragm condensers, they'll pick up a fly fart in the next room. So again, if you've got some noise, if your environment isn't where it should be, you might have some issues with that, and you might have to fix it and post a little bit. But it sounds amazing. The 103, it's everywhere. Again, it's like $1,500, which is still relatively cheap for a quality microphone, and you get to tell your friends you have a Neumann, and ooh, you're cool. It's really hard not to sound good on a 103. And then third is its big brother, the U87. Sounds a lot different from the 103, and it's a lot more. It's like $3,500. Again, not insane, but you're starting to get up there a bit. This is you're definitely spending a few bucks on your gear. Super, super popular in the pro studios. You see them all over. You see them at Disney. You see them everywhere. I find it to be kind of richer and warmer than the 103 if you're comparing, the two. It's great for both genders. Lindsay actually likes the 103. She's a cheap date. She likes the 103 more than the U87. I think she's nuts. The first time I used a U87, I'd been in the studio and whatever we were doing, I don't know, and had been on the 103 all day. And so, the 103, and I was used to it. And at this point, I knew the studio, I knew the I knew how everything sounded because we've been going over this thing. And then the engineer says, I want to try something. And they popped it off, 103, and then stuck on the U87, and I'm doing my little, testing. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Like, it felt like it was cheating. I said, well, man, this thing is great, and I super fell in love with it then. Again, others, sometimes they don't hear much of a difference between that and the 103, so if they want that style of mic, they'll go with the 103 and save, a few $1,000s. But otherwise, if you could do kind of your own shootout, go to a local shop, or just go to a local studio. Like I said, most of the studios have this gear, and pay them for the hour and just play with them. Ask them if you can have, somebody there can switch them out. They're usually not cool about you unplugging stuff and whatever. Anyway, the big three: the 416, the 103, and the U87. If you don't sound good on one of these microphones, you don't sound good. It's that simple. Again, there's a million other microphones out there, and you don't have, mine is better. Listen, there's plenty of mics that are great. But as far as ubiquitous microphones that are amazing, that I can guarantee are going to be quality gear, those are the big three. Bonus round. I wanted to add just a few extras, as long as I'm taking the time to go on and on about microphones and telling you exactly what to buy with your own money. Harlan Hogan makes a microphone. It's the VO1A or something. It's cheap. It's like a few $100, but it sounds good. He created it to work with a wide variety of voices and genders and deep and high pitched and whatever. So if you've only got a few bucks, or you're looking for a second microphone, or you're looking for something else to play with, it's not bad, man. I'm telling you, for the price point, you cannot go wrong. And that's done really well in the shootouts compared to whatever, billion-dollar microphones. So it's a great mic. It's cheap. It even comes with a great cable. I'll talk about those cables actually too in a second. The Apogee mic, it's like MIC, is great for the road. You could plug it into your iPhone even and use like Twisted Wave, or it's got like a USB thing. It's like this big. It's so cute. And the sound is amazing. I don't remember what year it was, but there was one of the voice conferences, and they had it downstairs, and nobody had really seen this thing before. And even like the super audio nerds were freaking out. They're like, "Did you see the little thing? And the sound is great and whatever." It sounds great. I mean, that's not, again, if it's got a USB on one end, that's not your primary microphone. But as far as something that you want to bring on the road with you because you still want to put auditions out, you could sit in your car. A car is a fantastic recording environment because they make them to be silent. and plug that thing in, and you could definitely bang out, a good quality audition at least. Great little thing. We even found a case, this cute little case that fits all your cables and the stand and stuff. I'll see if I can find a link for that too and put it down there. But great mic. The Mic Port Pro. Other folks have kind of copied the design, and it is an older unit. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's great. It's like a cigar-sized unit, and you plug in your XLR and on one end, and it's got a USB on the other. So it's basically a pre-interface all in one. So if you've got like a 416 like everybody else has, nice thin, sturdy kind of thing, and then you got this other thing, you throw that in your carry-on, you're good to go. And then you're using your pro mic. So if you want to set up in the hotel room and do like a pillow fort, kind of thing, like we all do, it's really great if you don't want to, start lugging around big gear. And I would be remiss, I tell you, if I didn't mention my beloved Mogami Gold cables. Love them. Throughout the years and years and years, I've had talent, I've had friends, and they're all freaking out. Something's wrong with my gear. I don't know what happened. Yesterday it was fine, and now there's a hiss. And they're going crazy, and they're pushing little buttons, and they're checking all their software and whatever, and so many times, it's a cable. They just have a cheap cable. They're not shielded well, and they've got it run with like 80 other cables and power cables, and it just doesn't work. And nowadays, back in the day, you had all this outboard gear, so you had stuff coming in and out of your booth, to your racks and nonsense and whatever. Nowadays, you're using maybe one or two cables. You've got your cable going from your mic to your, your little Scarlett or something. So to spend, some extra 20 or 30 bucks or whatever to get the Mogami Gold, where you're pretty much guaranteed that if there's hiss or problems, it's not going to be your cable. That's a no-brainer. It's just going to keep you from, pulling your hair out. Yes, there's cables that are better and they're higher end, but listen, they're amazing. I love these cables. We have all kinds of stuff rigged up, and always Mogami Gold, man. Good stuff. Quick rant on something that people talk about all the time. First, fix your recording environment, for God's sakes. Then, if you don't know what microphone to get a 416, a 103, or a U87, for God's sakes. And you're going to be happy. Again, if you could try them out beforehand, that's great. But pretty much you're going to be happy with any of those guys. And then we got some, travel stuff. If you got a U87 that costs you thousands of dollars and you don't want to throw it in your bag and be like, here, Delta. Please don't break my livelihood. It's good to have some travel stuff, because we all know you don't actually vacation. There's no vacations in voiceover. You bring your gear, for God's sakes. Anyway, leave your comments down below. I hate you because you didn't mention my favorite microphone, and you're an idiot because this microphone is way better, and blah, blah, blah. You're wrong, I'm right. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below. If you have questions but you don't want us to call you out on camera and you want to be anonymous, there's an email address down there. Send us an email, or you just have topic suggestions and there's something you want me to rant and rave about. The comments below, hit the like or whatever. Subscribe. If you don't subscribe, I'm coming to your house and getting you. For God's sakes. I don't know, subscribe. Anyways, till next time, I'm Eric Shepard, and this has been The Outspoken.